Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Relentless Transitions Podcast. I am Teresa, and I am joined by my lovely co host from Canada, Miss Rosalind Keith. How are you doing today, Miss Rosalind?
I'm doing okay, but having one of those days that I'm sure everybody runs into. Didn't sleep well the night before and feeling a little less energized than I should be. So,
Yes, yes, yes. So today, guys, you are getting a perfect example of what it is to push through. And we are just so excited that you are here with us and that you are going on this journey because here at Relentless Transitions, we talk about life, we talk about business, and we talk about how to triumph. And we are just two global ladies in business. We are not perfect. We are on a journey. And there's my other co-host, Mr. Sampson, back there. If you're watching us on
showing us a good view of his butt.
good viewers, but if you are watching us on YouTube, my dog is flashing us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was going to say that's her dog, not her husband.
right, exactly. So, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we feel that we have another awesome topic. We are going to be talking about how to actually regain your focus or maintain your focus or increase. So, look, we have it from all different ways. We're talking about focus today for your business, how to increase your focus in your business. How about that, Rosalind? What do you think?
This is a good one, especially on a day like today for me. It's one of those days that I know I'm going to have trouble focusing. So this is a good
Yes,
way to
and here
start.
it has been pouring down rain this
Oh,
morning.
has it?
So when I got up, I said, "Oh, this is one of those days where you can just lie down and just
Yeah,
listen to the rain
yeah.
falling." It stops at this moment, but still, it's kind of one of those days. So we're excited to be talking about this today, and we're going to talk about our top 10 ways to increase your focus. But first, let's talk about a little bit about what do we mean by focus. So, Rosalind, what is your definition or your idea of being focused?
Well, it's the ability to pay attention to what needs to be done in the moment. It's really about being clear about what needs to be done and where your attention should be in on this day. Uh, with respect to your business in particular, this aligns with your goals. So make sure your attention, right, aligns with your goals and stay focused on that.
Yes,
So yeah.
definitely. And in business, as a matter of fact, you have to become laser focused, especially in those beginning stages. Really, I think throughout business, your focus changes, but you have to be laser focused when you're trying to get it off of the ground. But then, you know what? Once you get the business started and off the ground, then you're focused on trying to maintain the business. Then at some point, you want to scale the business, make it larger and grow. So, your focus, it changes and it intensifies, but no matter at what level you are in your business, you have to be laser focused. You have to be paying attention to what is going on in your business. Even when you get your business, I think, to that point where you have a lot of automations and you have systems in place where the business is running, but still you can't just disappear and never kind of peek in on what's going on. Even if it doesn't require your hand to run it every day, you do have to pay attention. And why is this so important? It's important because you can lose your focus if you lose your focus on your business, on the message of your business, on the function, the productivity, the life of your business. Then you could actually lose your business. All of the hard work, the long hours, the sacrifice, the preparations that you have put in place can actually fall. So that's why it is so important. So today we're just going to hop on in and we're going to go through our top 10. So the first one I think I've kind of touched on it. So my first one would be that you need to zero in. It's very important for you to zero in and have focus on your daily targets. And in business, not only are you looking at what's happening today, but you're looking at what's happening weekly, quarterly, annually, and then you're even projecting out in your business. So it is important to have a focus. And I suggest utilizing a calendar so that you can kind of, or some type of way. Some people use a whiteboard, but you want to actually be able to visualize what's supposed to be going on day to day, month to month, quarter to quarter, annually, and beyond, so that you can actually measure and stay on track. Anything you want to add to that, Rosalind?
No, I don't think so. I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one, the zeroing in. And again, this, make sure that you're zeroing in on what's important that will move you towards meeting your daily goals, your monthly goals, your annual goals for your business for sure.
Hmm.
And figuring out what needs to be done in that at that time is, yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about there.
Yes, and be prepared to not let anything stand in your way, because everybody has the same 24 hours a day. So if we're talking about looking at your competitors, uh, we
Yep.
all have the same 24 hours in a day. And guess what? Things happen to all of us. Things happen in my business and Rosalind's business. Things will happen in your business. So you need to be prepared. Your focus is going to help you to be prepared to take on challenges, because when you're hyper focused, you're very sensitive and aware of what is going on in your business, but you're also aware of the tools that you have at your disposal. So you need to be prepared to go over, under, around any negativity, and to avoid distractions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what zeroing in is all about, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
our next tip is to pay attention to your customers, and I would add to your potential customers as well.
Mhm.
By this, we mean making sure you respond to any feedback you get, making sure you're organized enough that you don't forget appointments, you know, um, listen to feedback you get from customers, really study your potential customer and figure out ways to target them, um, take any necessary actions it is to get to those customers, be in front of them, whether it's responding to negative complaints about you or just positive feedback as well. So, but most importantly, don't avoid the negative feedback because that can spin out of control. So by paying attention to any emails or any social media posts or anything that about your business, by paying attention to that, you can keep even your dissatisfied customers happy, and you can grow the number of satisfied customers, and you're reaching your potential customers as well because people read that stuff whether they're your customer or not. So
Mhm.
by paying attention to all of these different aspects of customers, the current satisfied one, the current unhappy one, and the potential one, your business is going to grow for sure.
Yes, yes. And tip number three is address one task at a time. Let me say that again. Address one task at a time. And I say that, look, I need that piece of advice myself, because I am great at multitasking. And as women, we are great multitaskers. But when it comes down to your business, it's really important to be focused on completing or working on one task at a time, not working on this task and thinking about all of the other things that you need to do. Whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing right now, do that. Let me say it again. I'll say it for me. Whatever you are supposed to be doing right now, do that. And what will help you, for a person like me who is always thinking about so many things, then what helps is actually writing it down. I think I've mentioned that in another episode, and you're going to hear it many more times out of me because it is very important to write things down. Whether now, and for this, if you have like a calendar or you utilize some app or something that's in your phone or something that's digital, that is quite okay. But it is important that you are not just operating off of what is in your head. Why? Is because it is going to allow you to focus, because you're going to be able to prioritize your activities. Sometimes I'm keeping a lot of things in my head just because I don't want to forget. But what that does is it slows me down on the thing that is most present in front of me. So, or it can do that. Maybe it might not do that for you, but I'm telling you that I think that is a very effective way to keep yourself on track. It will increase your productivity and allow you to get through the needed tasks much more quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Writing down any thoughts that come into your mind, that because this happens to all of us, right? We're
Mhm.
focusing on one thing and but our brain is going someplace else. And instead of then following that tangent, write it down so that you know you can come back to it at another time, right? That's a really
Mhm.
valuable tool. The other one, another one that we kind of related to this is just to be present wherever you are, to be there. Don't be staring at your phone. So if you're at a networking event, be there. Stay focused on the task at hand, which is networking, which is growing your influence within your circles in some way. And so put yourself in a position and your brain in a position where it knows right now all you need to do is be here and pay attention to what's going on around you, whether that's a conference, whether that's a business lunch, whether that's networking, whether it's actually a webinar you're attending that you're going to learn something valuable for your business. Don't have I was going to say something. Don't be there half.
Don't half listen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Be there all the way,
Mhm.
because you never know what opportunity is going to come out of these things that you're attending. And if you're not listening, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and I mean, I find that to be so true. Like, say, for instance, if you are at a business dinner, if you're in your one-on-one interactions, if you're at a luncheon with someone for a business or a potential person that you can network with, you never know where that next great
yeah,
connection is going to come from. And, I have been in meetings where, it just became clear, not often though, but it became clear that this person was not the way I interpreted it was that they really did not value me or my
yeah,
time as much as
exactly.
I was valuing them. I mean, I can actually really, knock on wood, I would say this has only happened to me one time. However, it really hurt my feelings. And I won't say this person's name, but it really hurt my feelings, because I really, was so excited about meeting with this person. And I took them to breakfast, and, I took them to one of my favorite places. So, I mean, it's breakfast. So it wasn't so expensive, but still it was, I put time and effort into it. I came with my notepad and, everything this person said to me, anything that she was planning or upcoming or whatever, I was taking notes. I mean, I was just really, and anything, any product or service that I had, any question that she asked me about how did I do this, where did I get that, I was immediately going into my phone and I was just sending her the contact information. However, she was not doing that for me.
Yeah.
I noticed that she was never writing anything down. And then anything that she already had in her arsenal that I admired, when I asked her about it, it was always that she needed to ask someone else to get the information. It was never really like she was forthcoming. So when I left the meeting, I mean, I felt like I was naked. I was in the parking lot going, oh my goodness, like I feel like I've been raped.
Yeah.
And I took it very personal, but guess what? How about a year later, I had a conference and one of my guests brought her,
Mm,
and I was the speaker on the stage. And of course, what did she do during intermission? She came and really tried to connect with me, and I was very nice to her, but I was totally uninterested. Just so you never know, where you might get that great connection. Or doing a webinar, I'll be transparent about me. I am such a multitasker that I will be listening to a webinar. I really want this information, but somehow along the way, I convince myself, oh, I'll come back to that later.
yeah.
No,
You
get the
don't, do you?
information.
Yeah.
Right. Get the information while the information is being given. Be
Yes.
present at that time. You're sitting there anyway. There's no need in thinking about something else, because now what ends up happening is when I leave that webinar, I don't have time to go back and now go through that 2-hour thing again. you
Yes,
know,
exactly.
I really
Exactly.
don't. So be present. If you're there, be present.
Yeah.
And then so then the next tip is do the things that you have actually set out for the day. So when you plan your business day, and again, I've mentioned this before, I really try not to tackle more than 3 things in a day. I might write more than those 3 things. But in reality, my goal for me to be satisfied, not frustrated, overwhelmed, and feeling unaccomplished at the end of my day is really those 3 things, those top 3 things. So start working on number 1, go to number 2, and go to number 3. Now, be flexible, and willing to accept an emergency, because life again happens to all of us. But an emergency is not your girlfriend wants to go and meet for lunch. That's no, no, no. That is not an emergency. Stay on track. But if someone comes to me with something new, and it's related to my business, unless it is an emergency and I absolutely need to direct my attention to that thing as my next thing. And be careful, listen to what I'm saying. I said as my next thing, because I'm going to complete what I'm working on now. Unless it's a fire or someone died, I'm working on this right now. When I get through with this, when I look at this new thing that they introduced, unless it is emergent, again, it's going to go where? At the end of my list. So it can be number 4, but it's not going to trump 1, 2, or 3. So stay on track. That way, again, at the end of the day, you don't feel like, oh, I meant to get this done, but I didn't get it done. And so now you're frustrated and feeling unaccomplished. Put that thing down at the end and let it be maybe your first thing for tomorrow, or maybe work a little bit later on it for the day to get it completed if it's absolutely necessary.
Great advice. Um, the next thing we're going to talk about is is the importance of learning to master your focus and command your focus. This involves learning to recognize when you're swaying off topic, when you're avoiding the top 3 things you've put on your to-do list. It's really about discipline, and it's also about being present to that task list. You've got those 3 things you want to accomplish at the end of the day. One thing you can do is if you are the type of person that's easily distracted, take regular breaks so that you can just refresh your brain a little bit. And by mastering your focus, by being disciplined, you actually end up accomplishing more, and your self-confidence soars. You feel better at the end of your day, So one thing I like to do is, I take my to-do list and I create an accomplishment list, so that at the end of the day, you see, wow, I got all of this stuff done because I was focused. Write about it, write how it makes you feel, and you will find that the more you explore ways to really master your focus, um, the better your business will be, but also personally, you'll feel more confident and more accomplished.
Absolutely. I call that my ta-da list. Ta-da!
Nice.
I gotta put fun on everything. So I call that my to-do list, or I journal and I call that my my accomplishment journal or
Yeah.
celebrations journal. So, or what I did right today.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I did right. And so, we can always just, that's a way of controlling what I call stinking thinking too, is that, our minds can sway to negativity very easily. But, one way to combat that is to say, well, what did I do right today?
Yeah. Yeah,
What
that's
what
right.
did I, and kind of it, takes your focus to what you did right. And
Yeah.
now we're down to number 7, which is some methods or some tips on regarding actions that you can actually take to maintain your focus. One is a do not disturb sign. So if you have just like at the hotels, how they have that little do not disturb sign, you can make one at home, or you can get one from a craft store, something that you can hang on your office door or your doorknob that says, do not disturb. I've mentioned previously that I will take my phone, put my phone on vibrate, and I turn it face down so that I know that it rang, but I don't have that tendency of looking at it and I got to grab it, right then. And I've made this contract with myself that I'm not going to answer my phone for the next hour. I'm just going to let it go to voicemail. And so hint, this is a big hint, not every phone call has to be answered right away. Now, an example of that, let's think about it. When you call your doctor's office, have you ever called the doctor's office and actually got the doctor on the phone? No, like right then. Now I'm a nurse, so I have been able to, I've had some doctors' direct cell phone numbers, and I've been able to call them. But in general, when you call a doctor's office, you don't, now it's the doctor, right? So this is an important person, and obviously you're not calling them just for just casual chit chat. Even then, that doctor does not answer your call immediately. And then when you ask for the doctor's nurse, what happens? You don't talk to her either. The phone just rings forever most times, and you end up with a voicemail. So it is okay. That other person on the other end of the line is not going to perish. And in business, one thing that I like to think is that what is for me is truly for me, because I know what you're thinking out there. I know there's somebody out there that's thinking, if I don't answer this phone right away, they're just going to go and they're going to give their business to someone else. No, if this person was really your client and they are really attracted to you and your services, guess what? They're going to give you an opportunity to call them back. Now, don't fail to do your follow up, and perhaps do an appropriate voicemail that says, that if you're reaching this call, that I will return my call within 24 to 48 hours, so that they have a time frame and that their expectation does not go unmet. So those are kind of my tips. Let me look. I have a little cheat sheet here to tell me. Schedule everything. So I said, schedule your social media interaction. That's another way to stay in focus, because I'm telling you, I can get in here and start looking at YouTube channels and start looking at Facebook, and you meant to look at it for 15-30 minutes, and now it's been a couple of hours or more. So schedule that time, and as a matter of fact, schedule everything. Schedule your family time, schedule everything.
Self-care time.
Schedule everything.
This was a very timely tip because when we sit down to record our podcasts, I always remember to put my phone on do not disturb, which means I don't get any phone calls, which means I don't get, any text messages or anything. It doesn't ring through. And I'd forgotten to do that today. So I did kind of, I mean, I'm sure you saw me being a bit distracted there, but it's like, oh, darn, I need to, you
Mhm.
need to do not disturb my world.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so
They will not perish.
that's right. That's right. And yeah, and when, you were talking about calling doctor here, when I call doctor's office, I inevitably it almost always it's so rare that the receptionist or the nurse answers. I'm actually surprised when a live voice comes to me. But
Exactly.
in their recording, they say, if this is an emergency, hang up and call 911.
Mhm.
So, and I'm willing to bet that um, people who are calling you, it's not a 911 emergency.
Mhm.
So you can get back to them. And again, you can set a time when you check your messages, and that includes email as well as phone calls. It just set a time, okay, I'm going to work for 2 hours, then I'm going to check my messages, something like that. So, and this kind of leads into the next top tip we have for you, and that is to prioritize your tasks. So, you know, this is about looking at the tasks that absolutely need to be done that day and making sure they're number one on your list, whether they're a pleasant task or not, you know. And if the tasks, if when you look at your task list, they all seem pretty equal, base them on a grade them on the basis of degree of difficulty, and look at your own, get to know your own peak energy times. Like, when would it be best for me to work on the most challenging thing in this list? Is it going to be as soon as I wake up in the morning? Is it going to be, you know, for me, sometimes my most productive times are like at 2 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep. So, it's important to recognize when you work best,
Mhm.
what time of day you work best, and that's when you tackle those hardest things. If you've graded your tasks on degree of difficulty, that's when you tackle those hardest things. So really, get in tune with yourself. Do the hard stuff when your energy is high. Save the stuff that's kind of easy enough to handle for those times when you need that cup of tea or something, when that your energy is going to wane. So, if it's 11 o'clock, you've been at it from 8 o'clock in the morning, and 11 o'clock, you're starting to think about lunch. That's when you look at your easier tasks, but you will have accomplished your harder tasks before then.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And then that brings us to tip number 9 on how to increase your focus. Don't be an expert of menial things. I love this. Don't be an expert at menial things. You have a business, you are a boss, and bosses do boss things. So that means that you don't want to be you don't want someone to look at you in your business and you are essentially like a dog chasing the tail. You know, you see that I'm a dog lover, and I've watched many a dog try to chase their tail, and trust me, I've never seen one actually catch it. They just swirl around in circles. Or you don't want to be, something that's more beautiful, like an ice skater going in a figure eight, right? You're just going around and around and around, and it looks beautiful, and these little doggies are cute as they can be, but you're not really going anywhere. So you don't want to focus too much on small tasks, or develop what we call in business analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
So, if you need a marketing system, or you need to have a marketing plan for your product or your service, choose a marketing system and get going. don't don't just You don't have to review if there are 1,000 plans out there, because guess what? We have been looking at that. That's been our thing all year long, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it seems it's literally been all year. Like, okay, should we use this one? Should we use this one? Should we use this webinar service? Should we use this course creator? Should we? And there are so many out there, right? And everyone has an opinion, and that sometimes even that can become so overwhelming, especially when that's not your area of expertise.
Yeah.
We can just analyze and dissect things so much that we don't actually take action and get out there in front of our customer. So we're thinking about who is our target market? Where is that target market? What do they look like? Then we write down a list of the people who can be or potentials for our target market. But then what we really need to be doing is spending more time in front of the target market.
Yeah.
So don't become an expert at the small things, at analyzing things. Become an expert of actually getting out there, the major things. I think Jim Rohn says, don't major in minor things. You know,
Yeah.
you want to focus on those major things in your business that are actually going to make your business profitable. And I think that sometimes, Rosalind, that we are hesitant to actually make a decision, because of course we don't want to make the wrong decision, but I think too is that sometimes we don't embrace change enough. And so when you're in business, you have to understand that changes are going to come, and change is just a part of it. And guess what? If you make this decision today and you start utilizing this particular software or this particular marketing plan or whatever it is, or this particular vendor, guess what? You can change your mind and, renegotiate,
Exactly.
reevaluate.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's this way forever and ever, amen.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes that's what our hesitancy is from, you know um
Yeah.
grasping that idea. But
Yeah. We
being
want it to be perfect. We want it to
yes,
be perfect, and it doesn't
yes,
need to be
it
perfect. It
doesn't need
has,
to be perfect. There's another saying that says, keep the main thing the main thing. So be focused on what you really need to your goal, what you really are trying to accomplish in your business, and all that other stuff, it will take care of itself. And
yeah.
I have one more example. It's funny, but this just coming to my mind, so I'll say it. It's I have this kitchen appliance. It's a Ronco. I don't know, but set it and forget it is what made me purchase it. So I don't know. It's like a rotisserie. So you can do all sorts of meat and stuff in there. And I remember someone breaking it down. They were like, look, what sold you that machine? What sold me the machine was they were saying that it was small. It didn't take up much cabinet space. I'm not cabinet, but counter space. And I like my counter space to not be so cluttered. It was saying you could cook a full meal with it, that it was easy to clean. They didn't waste time trying to tell me that it used 120 megahertz of electricity. You see what I'm saying? So don't be over there talking about what kind of plug it is and how much electricity it's going to use, and those things that really don't matter. Focus on the main thing, your main objective.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Uh, and our big top 10 list is coming to an end here with tip number 10. Don't equate a smile, courtesy, or being nice to a sale. A sale is a sale. So, you know, be sure that you have the correct funnels and payment gateways in place so your customers know what your offer is, how you can solve their problems, how you can enhance their lives, how they can do business with you and make it easy for them to do business with you.
Mhm.
And I think the important thing here is that, and I learned this the hard way, I think, this spring I was offering free webinars, and I was using Facebook and Eventbrite and getting it out there. And I got it out there in front of thousands of people. Lots of people expressed interest. I sent follow-up emails, very, you know, maybe 30 of them said, okay, I'm going to be there. And then on the night of, they weren't there, right?
Mhm.
So that interest that I created, yeah, that's good publicity because I got out there in front of thousands of people, but until they sign on the dotted line, it's really not worth that much, right? So,
Right,
and
right.
you had a great comment from your time in networking,
Network
in
marketing.
network marketing, right? And I love
Yeah,
that
yeah.
model.
When I
Yeah,
used to do network marketing, one of the things that they used to say to us is unless they say the word yes, YES, not some form of it, but unless they say yes, then the answer is no. So if they say, well, I need to talk to my wife about it, I need to talk to my husband about it, let me check my calendar. I think I'll be there. I'm going to try to be there.
yeah, yeah.
That is not YES. So if they do not say yes, then really what they're saying to you is no. It might be a fancier way or a nicer way. They might be smiling the whole time, but until they say yes, then the answer really is no. And in business, until you actually seal the deal, until they actually make that purchase for your product or your service, then you know it's not a sale, and so you cannot equate that to being profit. Now you can have some analytics that as Rosalind had, that will track like interest, that will track like how often your emails are opened or that kind of thing, but that is not a sale. So be laser focused on what your goal is and evaluate along the way what changes you might need to make to actually get achieve your end result. So I think that this has been great, Rosalind. How about you?
I just wanted to add one thing to that.
Okay.
Just, in the case of what I was doing, it doesn't mean that I now forget those people had expressed
Oh no.
interest. I continue working them. I continue providing them with value for free through my Facebook group, through my social media, through email campaigns. But they're not making me money. So whatever I do with respect to that has to be cost effective because they may never say yes, right? So
Mhm.
so and if you start doing an email campaign using them, you get the hint pretty quickly because they unsubscribe pretty quickly if they really don't want the service.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well,
So
look, that
yeah,
actually is going to lead us into a different podcast where we
for
will
sure.
venture into talking about marketing. See, we love just talking, as we said, about life. We're on a journey, life, business, and about how to triumph. And it's just ever changing. And there are so many parts. And even if we talk about the same topic, we can discuss that topic from so many angles. But for today, what we were talking about is how to increase your focus. And we're going to recap how to increase your focus in your business. So our top 10 are: number one, zero in; number two, pay attention to your customers; um, ask for their feedback; actually listen to the feedback and take necessary action; number three, address one task at a time; number four, be present; number five, do the things you have set out for your business day; number six, work to discipline your focus. So you're going to discipline your focus. You're going to take charge of it, command your focus. And that's sometimes a habit that we have to kind of work that muscle to strengthen it. Methods, um, employ methods to increase your focus, whichever works for you, like the do not disturb time or turning your do not disturb sign or turning your phone off. Number eight, prioritize your task. Number nine, don't be an expert at menial things. And 10, don't equate a smile, courtesy, or being nice to a sale. A sale is indeed a sale. That was awesome. I love that. Now, our takeaway for today is focus more on doing than on planning. Mm.
Yeah, and you'll see, and you, if
I'm
you look
almost,
through the
I feel like I want to like fall backwards and faint.
and if
Focus
you
more,
yeah, if
focus
you
more on doing than on planning, because as business owners we want it to be perfect, especially if you're a new business owner or if you're starting a new product or service. You can really analyze that thing to death.
yeah, and if you look back at the tips, a lot of them are action oriented. They're not planning oriented. They're action. They're things to keep your focus. So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Relentless Transitions podcast. We thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe, and also leave us a comment. And most certainly, if you would like to send us a message, please do so at relentlesstransitions@gmail.com. We'll see you for the next episode.
Thanks for listening, everyone.